Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, December 18th City Council meeting. Monty, please call the roll.
Alderman Santee?
Here.
Alderman Glab?
Here.
Alderman McClatchy?
Here.
Alderwoman Bassey?
Here.
Alderman Strack?
Here.
Alderman Cook?
Here.
Alderwoman Miller?
Here.
Thank you. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is a public hearing. I'm going to open up the public hearing for the 2023 property tax levy in the amount of $3,074,350. $3,074,350. Jeez.
I'll do that. You want to do
You want to do it for me? No, I got it. $3,074,352.
Third time you've been in.
At this time, I open up for a public hearing. Is there anyone from the public that would like to make a public comment at this time? See none? All right, I'm going to close the public hearing. Motion to close. Alderman Strack?
So moved.
Alderman Santee?
Second the motion.
Thank you. Monty, please call the roll.
Alderman Strack?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Glab?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Thank you, Council. Next item on the agenda is 4As. I'm looking for a motion to adopt the 2023 property tax levy ordinance in the amount not to exceed $3,074,352. Alderwoman.
So moved.
Thank you. Second. Alderman Strack? Alderman Santee?
We kind of look alike. Yes, I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Discussion by City Council? Alderman McClatchy, go ahead.
Yeah, just to be clear for people watching at home, this is not raising the levy. We're keeping it flat. So we're not raising taxes this year. So.
Thank you. Any other comments? Anyone from the public that would like to make a public comment regarding this item? See none? Monty, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Alderman Strack?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderman Glab?
Yes.
Thank you, Council. Next item on the agenda is presentations regarding the McHenry Police Department. 5A is a presentation of award to the McHenry Police, volunteerism towards Paint It Forward 2023. Justin Leibach, you want to go ahead and come up to the podium? You can just hit the center button there and turn. There you go. Got it. Perfect.
For those of you that don't know me, my name is Justin Leibach. I'm one of the owners of Allegiant Painting here out of McHenry. We are a commercial residential painting company, one of the largest, most respected painting companies here in McHenry County. We joined up with the PCA, which is the Painter Contractors Association. It's the largest painters association internationally. And through that, there is a humanitarian push and professionalization of the industry. So we this year hosted 2023 Paint It Forward event. So in Illinois, only 2 companies did it. In North America, 37 companies partook in it. So we hosted the largest event here in North America this year. On September 22nd, we had 86 professional painters and volunteers that came together, and we actually painted a $65,000 paint job for Alexander Lee Center for Autism. Incredible event. I'm here tonight, though, to tell you guys and say thank you to you guys. Now, I did not formally come to the McHenry Police Department and ask them for assistance. I did, though, personally ask a lot of the police officers, telecommunicators, if they would like to volunteer their time off duty to be part of such an amazing event. So at that time, we had 9 individuals from the McHenry Police Department off duty volunteer their time to this event. And we want to say thank you to you guys, and obviously bring recognition to them to show you what kind of employees you're hiring, that they're doing good things even when they're off duty. So just to close real fast, our event was submitted internationally to be the International Humanitarian Award for 2023, which we will find out in February in Orlando. So there's a video if you want to look further into it on our website at legionpainting.com. It's a 15-minute video of the entire event. See what your employees are part of. It's pretty cool. So at this time, I just want to present a plaque on behalf of Legion Painting, the PCA, and Alexander Lee Center for Autism to Chief Burke for all your employees and their assistance in this event.
Thank you, Justin. Chief, you want to go ahead and do the promotions of lead telecommunicators, Ryan Miller and Kate Wilbur.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council. I got to give a little bit of a backstory here before we call each of them up here to be recognized for their promotions. But for those of you who've been on the council for a while, and those of you that are new, we here in McHenry run a regional dispatch center. We run the largest 911 dispatch center in the county, and we dispatch for a total of 16 fire and police agencies countywide. We took on this venture as a partnership. We call it the Northeast Regional Communication Center, or otherwise NERCOM. And one of the very first things we did after that very first year was recognize that we wanted to be conservative how we approached our staffing, but we also recognized we needed to make sure that we had a first-line supervisor on each of our shifts. And so with the support of McHenry Fire Department, Woodstock Police Department, and Harvard Police Department, who are our partners in the dispatch center, we developed a plan to create lead telecommunicators, and very much similar to like what you see in a sergeant and patrol division on a police department, an on-duty supervisor that oversees the rest of the dispatchers, but is also a working dispatcher. And so we took baby steps. Justin, who you just met, he was our very first lead telecommunicator. We promoted him in the beginning of January of 2018 to see how the program would work. And obviously the goal was to have one lead telecommunicator on every working shift. We have 4 working shifts. And then Dexter Barrows, who's somewhere in the crowd here, I believe. There he is. We promoted Dexter in May of 2019 to fill the second seat. And then through some fiscal responsibilities and the opportunity for the 911 Center to receive grant funding to help offset the cost, we finally, the NERCOM board finally approved the hiring of the last 2 lead telecommunicators, and the City Council approved it in the formal budget this last fiscal year. So that brings us here tonight. And so we started that process of interviewing who those promotions would be, and that's why we're here tonight, to recognize Ryan Miller and Catherine Wilbur for their excellence and their ability, what they've done for the city already, and what we hope to see out of their future as lead telecommunicators. But before I call them up here too, I just want to recognize Chief Bauman. Can you raise your hand? Chief Bauman is the Harvard Police Chief, and Chief Lee, can you raise your hand? Chief Lee is the Woodstock Police Chief. We wouldn't be as successful in this dispatch center without the partnerships of these 2 individuals. Chief Lee's been in it since the beginning, and Chief Bauman got in it like 6 months, it seems like, after we started this brainchild. And so we're really proud of the dispatch center, we're proud of what they do, and we're proud for all their support and our partnerships. So. All right, so without further ado, Ryan Miller, come on up. Real quick, Ryan, there's your family here. Would you like to introduce your family?
Yep, so my mom and dad are in the back, Brian and Wendy, and then my girlfriend Amy and Jack, and my son Ben is
He's over there somewhere.
somewhere.
Okay. Okay, so here I have what's called a certificate of promotion, and I just want to read it to you. Presented to Emergency 911 telecommunicator Ryan Miller on this 18th day of December 2023, in recognition of your dedication, experience, performance, and selfless service to others, I hereby promote you to the position of lead 911 telecommunicator. A copy of this has been placed in your first personnel file, and this is for you, for your wall. Congratulations. Telecommunicator badge, and traditionally we offer you something like to pin it on. You want to call them on up? Listen, now don't poke him, okay? Try really hard not to poke. He was really nervous after they told me how to poke me. Okay, so did you practice it all? Okay, bud, you got it. Okay, Catherine Wilbur. Catherine, can you come on up? You want to introduce your family?
I have my husband, Mike, and our youngest, Olivia, here, our other two daughters, for example.
All right, I want to read you your certificate of promotion. Presented to Emergency 911 telecommunicator Catherine Wilbur on this 18th day of December 2023. In recognition of your dedication, experience, performance, and selfless service to others, I hereby promote you to the position of Lead 911 telecommunicator.
There's no way she'll step up here.
We can't go on with the rest of the meeting if you don't come up. And you know what? There's cake afterwards. Okay. Top hole, bottom hole, and then you're all set. Thank you, everybody, for coming. You do not have to stay here. If you exit out these doors to the right, there's a nice cake and coffee reception for you. Lots of pictures for me.
Chief,
Thank you.
Chief, before they leave,
Sure.
I just want to make a comment,
Hold on a second, guys.
you take a look at, if you went back a little over 20 years ago, we used to have a lot of unrest in the police department, a lot of complaining and everything else, and I just want to thank this group because, not only did their immediate families come out for these promotions and the presentation, but it's a large family out there that your police department has, and it's just nice to see that they all come out to support each other.
Always some cake. No. Thank you.
Hey, Chief.
All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to the public comment portion. Devin Rozga. How you doing, sir?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Hello, my name's Devin Rozga. I guess I'm here representing the neighborhood of Boone Creek and Legend Lakes, and I'm sure all of you are aware we had one of our children get hit in the crosswalk last week. So we have about 405 people sign a petition. We're looking to maybe get stoplights put in, or a stop sign, or possibly just more lighting, just to make it a little bit safer. We do have a lot of traffic, kid traffic, pedestrian traffic from Boone Creek into Legend Lakes to use the parks. So with that, we just like to make it aware to the council that we're thinking about this issue. So
Sure.
if I could drop off this petition, that'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. What's your address, if you don't mind?
Yeah, it's 313 Trayley Lane.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, you got it. All right, thank you.
Have a good one.
You too. Anyone else for public comment? See none. Moving on to the consent agenda, items 7A through 7E. Is there any items that council would like to pull for separate consideration? See none. I'm looking for a motion to approve 7A through 7E. Alderman Cook?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Second? Alderman McClatchy?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Discussion on these items. Monty, please call the roll.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Glab?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey?
Yes.
Alderman Strack?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Thank you, Council. Next item on the agenda is 8A, is a Class A liquor license to the Kraken, 4509 West Elm Street, pending the successful completion of a background check and obtaining a local manager within 10 miles of the city of McHenry within 30 days of opening. I'm looking for a motion to approve the issuance of a Class A liquor license to the Kraken located at 4509 West Elm Street. At this time, I would ask for a motion to approve 8A. Alderman Cook?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Second? Alderman McClatchy?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Open up for discussion by City Council. Alderman Gleb?
Yeah, I know we have a lot of empty buildings in that area that we need to fill, but however, you know, there comes a time to where how many bars, how many, you know, liquor establishments are we going to take and keep opening up in the town of McHenry? You know, we've become a town, a party town. Where years back when I first got on the council, we used to be noted for a community that we were building for families, and liquor establishments are not exactly oriented. You know, it's like it's a nice family restaurant that needs to, you know, have a liquor license. And I just, at this point in time, unless there's something very, very interesting that comes in that this community doesn't have, I don't think I'll be supporting any more liquor licenses. Thank you.
Yeah, Alderman McClatchy.
Excuse me. Thank you, Mayor. Is the petitioner here?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I know you're going to do a presentation on this.
Yes.
Okay. When do you plan on opening if this passes?
Right now we're in the beginning stages, so I would assume around May, give or take. I don't know how long build out would take because it needs a lot of work.
Right, you're right. And that's one of the reasons I'm supporting this. That area needs all the help it can get, and I think this is, you know, one piece of the puzzle. How many restaurants do you have?
Right now, I don't have any bars.
Okay.
I'm in the amusement business. I put pool tables and jukeboxes, pinball machines in North Carolina in bars and restaurants. I've wanted to open a bar for a long time, but every time I think of a place close to myself in North Carolina, I've got a client that would be very upset with me if I did so.
Gotcha.
So I've got games in almost all the bars around me, and I've got friends up here who were like, well, just come up here and do it. So I came in to visit, and your city's almost exactly like where I live.
We're better, but...
in some parts I agree. So we had a small town boom. I'm right outside of Raleigh. Wake Forest, Franklinton, there's a lot of small cities and towns around it that everyone's getting out of the cities. Raleigh's nowhere near like Chicago, but I feel like here is having the same situation. There's new business, new enterprise coming in, and it's something that I'd like to capitalize on.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Any other questions by council? Nothing? Alderman Santee?
So when I look at, there's a presentation that was sent out to us, 20 pages, and I'm not sure how much in depth you're going to be going into, but so kind of explain, if you would, what you're looking at in regard to your days of operation when you open up in the mornings. It's my understanding there'll be a coffee and juice bar. Could you kind of explain how you're looking at your business plan and how that pattern works over one day, you know, from the start to the beginning?
Open at 6:30 in the morning with coffee, breakfast sandwiches. I was thinking about, for the longest time, I've wanted to use a mini donut machine. I saw it at an amusement show a long time ago, and they're awesome. But we had a walkthrough the other day, and I heard that Riverside Donuts and the bakery is the place.
Yeah.
So we'll probably scrap that because I don't think I could do any better. But may be able to deal with them and have them deliver. I feel like where I'm at, a lot of bars open at 4 or 5 in the afternoon. A lot of breakfast places close at right after lunch. And they're missing a lot of hours in the day. And the ones that I've seen that have opened all hours of the day do fantastic. So
If I could follow up, so if you're offering like coffees and juices during the day, you'll allow that into the evening hours, and are you going to, I know I'm looking at a drawing of your footprint. Is there going to be a designated area where people can, enjoy coffee into the afternoon, possibly evening hours, and not be disturbed by, like a bar area or maybe more of a noise area in regards to, are you splitting that up or trying to do your best to divide that?
On the right, or if you're looking at that page, towards the bottom of the page, the front door's on the left, and the coffee, breakfast, sandwich, juice area would be at the bottom part of the page. In the middle would be more bar area.
Okay.
So the thought is to have all of the speakers and for sound and jukebox stuff in the middle. Any overflow sound would come to the side. The building's not that big, so it's still the sound's gonna travel. But I feel like people could still do work from home there and enjoy coffee and breakfast without being in a bar. Also, we don't plan on having it be like a rowdy bar. We're not.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
I have no further questions.
All right. Do you have the presentation on there? You want to do the presentation now?
If you like.
All right.
It's going to be hard to get there after you guys made me almost cry with the kids pinning their parents, holding it down back there.
Right. It's all yours.
So if you want to go forward to just the picture of the building right there, that's 4509 West Elm. We would like to make it look like the next page. So the roof needs work, the siding needs to all be changed. There's some windows that need to go, and that's strictly outside stuff. Parking lot needs to be redone. There's a lot of work involved. And then the build on the inside's extensive also. What the look we were going for is the industrial kind of barn lighting, tin and wood outside to try to make it feel comfortable and, homey. That's the parking lot now and the roof now. It could use some help. About us, I just explained myself. I've got a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old and another one due next month. At some point, I guess I'll figure out what's causing that problem. The reason for the cracking is a buddy of mine. His wife's grandfather served on the USS Kraken submarine. And I know about the history of this town with the lakes and the river. So we were thinking about a nautical theme, and we came up with the Kraken. Right there's the layout. It's not a massive building, but down at the bottom you can see that's where the coffee and breakfast type area would be. And it would be, we'd like for that to go all day and serve coffee throughout, but we have to make sure that all that will work and pass inspections. The next page gets into what we were planning on selling. And that was one of the inspirations, Edie's All Day Cafe. They do kind of the same thing, but they close very early. And that would be kind of like a look on the inside of the bar. We came up with some names of drinks that we'd like to offer. And a panini menu. Where I'm at, that's a major thing. I don't know about here. From what I've heard, it's kind of a big deal. Sandwiches do well. in the gaming, to stay competitive with everyone else. Probably not much in pool tables and stuff like that. We're not having a whole lot of luck with pool tables in North Carolina right now, and bar games. Revenue projections, we're looking at probably 64 to 66% be food and beverage. Community benefits, some of the stuff that we do already in North Carolina, we'll donate towards a cause for the county or the town. Little League baseball uniforms and pet adoption type things like that. If you guys have any other questions.
Any other questions by council? Alderman Miller?
Thank you for your presentation. In the past, when a new business owner has come into town, we have not necessarily approved the gaming license on the first go-around.
Mm-hmm.
We've only approved their business plan outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case this evening, what do you believe your success rate will be, or your commitment rate to this project?
Well, we would at least still be committed. The gaming is really just to stay competitive with all the other bars and restaurants. But we still would love to open a bar and breakfast coffee area.
Okay, and if I could just follow that up, obviously one of the requirements is to find a local manager.
Yes.
How is that quest going?
So I actually met a person today who's interested, but we're probably more than 6 months out. So it's going to take some time, but I can't really find someone and say 6 months from now come and get a job. Most people that need a job right now, they need it now. But I have some people that are interested. I have to make sure that they're within 10 miles. But I don't think that would be a problem. And if it caused me to push the opening date back, I don't think that would be an issue.
And as a business owner, are you temporarily relocating here, or will you just be commuting back and forth to Raleigh-Durham?
Commuting. With the kid due next month, my wife would shoot me. And especially as cold as it is here.
Cold? You've seen nothing yet.
So today I think it was like 28. And I was like, I know what 28 feels like. This is not 28. My stick out. So the wind just catches. And it was rough. I didn't bring a toboggan. I didn't bring gloves. But I really like it here. I plan on commuting back and forth quite a bit if all this goes well. Here and with the landlord and all the other hurdles I have to make across.
And I guess my last question, you don't own a bar. You said you don't own any other bars.
Correct.
You own other restaurants?
No.
Okay, and any with this business plan? With breakfast, lunch, bar?
No.
So this is your first out of the gate, let's do this business plan far away from where I live in the middle of nowhere, Illinois?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
I know it sounds weird. Bill said if I open a bar where I'm at, every one of my clients will think that I'm digging into their business. And so I would be, it doesn't feel right every time I think about it. But I have some really good friends here that are interested and want to help. So as far as operations go, they're not within 10 miles, but they're probably going to be handling quite a bit of the work.
So with that said,
Mm-hmm.
all of these friends that have an interest, because I think everybody here on council owns a business or two,
Mm-hmm.
do they have a financial interest, or are they just friends with an interest?
Really, there's two that would have a financial interest, but they're not. I think he's probably 30 miles away, but he needs a job. So he wants to basically manage
So,
Okay, thank you.
any other questions? All right, you may have a seat. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Anyone from the public would like to make a public comment regarding this item? See none? Monty, please call the roll.
Alderman Cook.
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy.
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller.
Yes.
Alderman Strack.
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey.
Yes.
Alderman Glab.
No.
Alderman Santee.
Yes.
Thank you, Council. Next item on the agenda is 8B. This is the video gaming license for the Kraken at 4509 West Elm Street. Pending the approval, obviously it was just approved, of the Class A liquor license. Motion to approve a video gaming license to the Kraken located at 4509 West Elm Street. I'm looking for a motion to approve. Bless you. Alderman McClatchy?
I'll make a motion. I've got a question. You have 3 terminals, right? You don't plan on going to 6?
How many terminals are you looking? Can you come up to the podium if you don't mind? There's 6 on the plan.
Oh, the picture has 3.
You plan on having 6 machines, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Can I have a second? Alderman Cook? All right. Thank you. Discussion on this item by council? Alderman Miller?
Thank you. So I guess my concern is, and this has nothing to do with you, but my concern is absentee ownership. We hold our video gaming license holders to a pretty high standard, and I think when there's an issue, Derek and Monty have been able to literally walk to their location and have a conversation about whether we change the ordinance, whether we ask them to put up more dividers, whether we had a conversation about anything about video gaming. And as we've done previously, my concern is without that experience here, I have nothing to judge that person or that performance on. So I'm hesitant, and the applicant did just say they're going forward without it. As we've done previously, we withheld the video gaming license for a year to establish credibility of the business plan. And I guess that's the way I'm leaning.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Alderman Santee?
I'll just say that I do agree with Alderwoman Miller.
Any other questions? See none? Open up for public comment. All right. Monty, please call the roll.
Alderman McClatchy.
Yes.
Hang on, Alderman Sandy's got a question.
Could you reread the motion, please?
Yep.
Monty.
The motion is approve a video gaming license to the Kraken at 4509 West Elm Street.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Monty.
Alderman McClatchy.
Yes.
Alderman Cook.
Yes.
Alderman Santee.
No.
Alderman Glab.
No.
Alderwoman Bassey.
No.
Alderman Strack.
No.
Alderwoman Miller.
No.
All right, so that has failed for the gaming side of it. Okay? We look forward to working with you. Hopefully you still move forward. And if you need anything, obviously, we met, your group has met with myself, the chief, and Monty as well. And I think you met with Monty recently as well on your own. But if there's anything you need from us, let us know.
Absolutely.
All right? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Alderman Santee?
And I just want to make sure that with Alderwoman Miller, I think, I can't speak for everyone on the council, but up and running for a year, he can always come back and request that gaming license, correct? he can request that gaming license, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Next item on the agenda is 8C, Whiskey Diablo Economic Incentive Agreement Amendment. I'm looking for a motion to approve a second amendment to the amended Economic Incentive Agreement between the City of McHenry and 1325 Riverside Incorporated DBA Whiskey Diablo. I have received a call from Dan Hart about 2 weeks ago in regards to this. Obviously, you know Dan has been working, or maybe you don't, but Dan has been working on some other projects. Not that's been a cause of this one. There's some contractors that have delayed him a little bit. So I have offered to bring it to council for a 90-day extension to May 28th, 2024. So I'm looking for a motion to approve this item. Alderman Miller?
I'll make the motion to approve a second amendment to the amended economic incentive agreement between the City of McHenry and 1325 Riverside, Inc., doing business as Whiskey Diablo.
Thank you. Second, Alderman Santee.
I will second the motion.
Thank you. Discussion on this item by City Council? Alderman Santee.
Yeah, I understand where Mr. Hart's coming from. Maybe this goes to Community Director Palarecki. Have we had, I mean, there's multiple places right now that are still in the midst of trying to get open. Has this been, not to this extent, but there's been this issue happening in other places?
Yeah, it's contractors, equipment, materials. It's just a slew of things that we're seeing all across town that's delaying these projects. So, in my opinion, it is an issue, yes. No fault to the owners themselves.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments by council? Alderman Glab, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you know, we've had this discussions about this on several different, it's a business, there's gambles and everything else, but you can almost feel sorry for, as successful as he is in other ventures, this one has been quite a tough one for him, and I could see where I think we'd be remorse to take and not approve this.
Good. All right, open up for public comment. Anyone from the public want to make a public comment regarding this item? See none. Monty, please call the roll.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't catch who seconded the motion.
Santee.
Okay. Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Glab?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey?
Yes.
Alderman Strack?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is 8D, is a referendum authorizing ordinance. Motion to execute an authorizing ordinance to place a binding referendum question to the public of public policy on the ballot of March 18, 2024 general election, and that is that this ordinance is submitted to the McHenry County Clerk no later than January 2nd, 2024. Director Hobson, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. So at the December 4th, we had a pretty extensive discussion regarding the future referendum possibility. At that point, I was certainly waiting or hopeful what those numbers might come back as while our architect was working on dealing in exactly what those numbers are instead of any projections that I included in the budget, which were grossly wrong on my part. So I think I thought we were in be a $6 million increase. It was certainly more than that. Before you is an ordinance. You know, we had talked about asking for all of it at that point. In doing so, we're looking at a $45 million referendum for our community. That includes the outdoor aquatics, the indoor pool, and as well as the gymnasium. The only significant change in a plan from the 2018 version was the addition of one more court for the gymnasium in order for us to be able to have it open to the public, run our programs, as well as the possibility of hosting tournaments, which is a large revenue generator for the facility. We expanded from 2 courts to 3 courts, including the walking track around that. And so that was the only significant change. The costs on the gym went up quite a bit. That was probably the biggest one. I think it went from $8 million to about $20 million for the gymnasium. Remarkably, the indoor pool actually stayed pretty close. It was right around 10 million for each of those concepts. And then the outdoor pool went up significantly as well. I think we went from roughly 6 million to about 10.5 million for the outdoor aquatics. So before you is the real numbers, and I think that's where we started in terms of a discussion. I will add what that means to, I had Director Martin pull up some numbers for me of where we're at with a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, and 4-bedroom home and what those average values were in today's numbers. So our average 3-bedroom home is $275,000, meaning that the increase for this particular referendum that's in front of you would be $353 a year or $29 a month. The one positive I'll say is that because of our growth, because of the expansion or the increased EAV, that the tax rate has certainly decreased quite a bit, and even this tax rate will be less than it would have been in 2018. We were looking at a tax rate in 2018 increase of or not increase, but an overall tax rate moving from 0.72 to 105. In this case, we have a current tax rate of 0.55 move to potentially 0.94. So with that, I will entertain question, discussion, see where we go from here.
Thank you, Bill. Any questions, comments? Alderman Glenn?
Yeah, probably Caroline's question. What do we basically owe on our bonds right now as far as the rec center? I know we're talking 13 years out yet, but I'm sorry, I probably should have asked you to look that up before the meeting, but
let's see. So including this year, we still owe, including interest, we owe $1.7 million.
1.7 million?
And they'll be paid off in 2035.
So the revenue that we're getting from the rec center, it's going to take 13 years to pay off that 1.7 million?
So the way the bonds work is the bonds are paid off over 20 years.
Okay, and we can't pay them off earlier?
You cannot, have to be refunded, and it's not like a loan where you pay them off early.
So in other words, there's a cost to paying them off early?
When you buy a bond, you're guaranteed interest payments and the principal payments, so it's not as easy to pay them off early.
Okay. So let's say if we could pay it off early, how long do you think it would take with the revenue that we've got coming in to pay off that debt?
I mean, right now we're really at the point where we need to pay the bond payment that we have. So $130,000 a year is really what the rec center can afford.
We're paying $130,000 on the bonds right now, but what's our revenue coming in at in a year's time? Do we know approximately? I don't need an exact dollar.
$450 or so, but that's we have expenses in the rec center as well.
So our revenues are $450,000 before expenses.
I mean, we're almost breaking even in the rec center right now.
We're breaking even.
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions, comments by council? Alderwoman Patsy.
Bill, just want to confirm, last time this discussion came up, you said that we have approximately 1,239 members, 75 of which are residents. Is all this correct? I mean, this is correct, right? I just want to make sure I've got the numbers.
Yes, 75% of those.
Okay, so basically 3.44% of the population of McHenry are members of the rec center. Does that sound? Okay, thank you.
Alderman Miller?
So, I don't know how to say this other than to say this. It's a lot of money. And for the last couple hours, because I missed the number first time through, but someone brought it to my attention. Thank you, Sean. It's a lot of money, but if we don't ask our constituents if they're willing to invest, how do we know? So I'm at the quandary of we have to put it on a referendum, because if there's a resounding no, we have our answer. If there's a resounding support, we have our answer. But I'm just concerned about the middle, the missing middle of the people who don't vote, who don't answer the call, and have a voice that we're never going to hear. And how do we reach the middle? Because we know they may not go to the polls and give us our answer. And to Alderwoman Bassey's point, I wish the rec center wasn't at break even, because then I could validate the use, and I know this will get used. But we have all of our households paying for it through a bond, and then we have to upsell it to our rec center users, and I don't even have a wild guess how to estimate how many more people would use the facility if we spend $45 million to make it better. Any guess on how you would estimate that?
It's a really difficult thing to estimate. The one thing I can say is that, to my knowledge, with Healthbridge closing, there's only one other pool that's accessible to the public in the county, and that's the YMCA in Crystal Lake. And that's something that becomes extremely valuable. Any numbers that I put out would be pure speculation, and I hesitate to do so other than the availability to facilities that are in our county. And then when I speak about availability to facilities, even in terms of the gymnasium, that we are at the whim of schools to say you can or can't use it, or we're competing with other programs. All of our programs that are athletics are in schools, especially during the winter months. And so it's hard to say what we attract and who uses what. One thing that we hear all the time now is we want pickleball courts. There was a place in Algonquin that opened up a pickle house strictly for that. Now that's not what we would have, but to be able to offer those type of facilities, which again is a multi-generational type sport at this point, this is something that we can offer. Right now we offer that one day a week at Parkland School. But directly to your question, I can't tell you that we will attract X more people because we build these facilities. That's my short answer.
Right.
So don't misinterpret my question as I don't support it. I think you know I support this. I think this is what our community needs and our constituents will want. But and I had that conversation with you, and I said we can't piecemeal this. It's got to be all or none. If we're going to develop it, and we just saw costs went up 66%, which was like, holy crap. The longer we delay, the more it's going to cost. But to me, I have to think about if we have round numbers, 30,000 people that live here, and how many of those would be attracted to this facility? How many can you accommodate? And the conversation that kept going around in my head today is when you had 2,000 members at the rec center a few years ago, the rec center was clearly not built big enough to accommodate that. And 2,400. So I guess so let me go backwards and ask you, given this proposal, the 3 gymnasiums, the indoor pool, the heat pool, the outdoor pool, the splash pad, the the lazy river pool, on a best day ever, how many people, what's the occupancy on that?
Overall built out totally.
Completely done, beautiful, operational, up and moving. How many people can you have walk in the door?
No, I would say 1,000.
1,000.
done the outdoor aquatics with that footprint, as well as the natatorium, the indoor pool, and a 3-court gym, where let's say you have a tournament going on, as well as the fitness floor, fitness classes, multi-purpose room, I would say 1,000.
So we have 1,200 members currently?
100.
How many, and I don't mean to get into the minutia, I need to support this, and I know we're going to have a zillion questions. If we have 1,279, I think.
1239.
1,239.
And 75% are,
residents, so 1,239 people that currently hold a key card holders. How many of those people are active users of the rec center? Guess. Like, I hold a key card and I've never used it.
70%.
70%. So 70% of 1,200 is 840. So if you can accommodate 1,000 people on a good day, on a full day, so if we added 30% to that, so 1,300 is what we would expect at the 70% rate.
Right.
So we're already there. So if you're breaking even right now at 1,230 people, and we're adding a $45 million project, what pays for the project? What pays for the maintenance on this project?
I don't have an answer for you.
Okay, and I didn't expect you
That
to.
level of detail, I don't have an answer.
So what do you think the maintenance of this project's going to cost?
I can't answer that question.
Okay, so I guess I'm trying to backdoor into, if we don't know what it's going to cost, how many more memberships do we have to sell to support it on an ongoing basis? Because once you build it, you still got to support it. You got to put chlorine in the pool, you got to wax the floors, you got to do what you got to do, and that's just going to put more pressure on you and your team to sell those memberships to support it, because we just passed a no increase on our tax revenue, so it has to be a self-funded project. So if our community comes back to me and says, oh my God, we're willing to ante up and we're willing to spend $350 a year and get a $45 million thing, and we have no money to support it, I guess I have issues with that.
Our pro forma from 2017,
Right.
we did the full pro forma.
Yeah.
We came back, where we ran all the costs, all the expenses, all the revenue coming in.
Yeah.
We came back, as the gymnasium, a 2-court gymnasium, adding $67,000 alone in that aspect. The outdoor aquatics at that point added, I want to say, $12,000 in revenue.
Revenue or expenses?
Revenue. Overall, revenue for the bottom line.
Net. Net,
Yeah.
okay.
And our pool was in the 6-lane, 25-meter pool was, I think, was going to cost us $25,000. We'll lose money. We will lose money on an indoor pool.
Right.
I will tell all of you that right now. We will lose money on an indoor pool just because the mechanics that are required to do so. That's every pool, no matter where you go. And there's no sugarcoating at all. It's an indoor pool that will lose money.
Yeah, the pro forma showed that only the entire build-out would make money of all aspects of it would be in the black. If it was only an indoor pool, no. If it was only an outdoor pool, no. If it was, I guess, the gymnasium, right? But only together
The gymnasium
is the revenue generator, because it's 12 months out of the year, and there's not the mechanicals like an indoor pool has. And the only other thing I was going to say, not to make this more difficult as a discussion, is we can't lose sight of the fact, whether we do something, whether you choose to move forward with this or not, that at some point we need to deal with an outdoor aquatic facility, because the lifespan on Knox Park Pool, Merkel Aquatic Center, is within like single digits now, maybe. So at some point you'll have to make a decision to do an outdoor aquatic facility, whether it's just a pool like we have now or something larger. I'm guessing it would be something larger for bigger communities. So we're going to have to do something in the future to deal with that pool also, one way or the other.
Go ahead.
You know, I just want to confirm a few things that I heard Alderwoman Miller say in your response, so I just want to make sure I've got this correct. The question was, how many active members do we have? And you said 75% of the 1,239. Is that correct? That are active?
As a guess. You're asking me on the spot to say, what do I think?
Right.
As a guess, that's what I said.
Okay, so would you anticipate that when they're up for renewal, they would not continue their renewal and they would drop off?
We've actually been gaining members throughout this entire year.
Okay.
So we, obviously COVID had a really huge impact to us.
Sure.
We lost 500 members alone just during that. And we started that climb back. I think the facility that we run, how clean we keep it, the programs that we offer, have all seen gradual increases now. Even on off months, we've seen increases. We're also split between two different systems. An old system that people were still they were on. We've completely cleared those. We're on our new rec system, our new rec track system, our new rec desk system. So we know exactly what we're dealing with. We continue to gain members.
Okay, so of the active, which would now be like 929, is that still a 75% residence? Or, okay, fair enough. I mean, these are all, you'd have to do a lot of homework to answer those. Okay, thank you.
Are you going to ask how big Woodstock is?
I was just going to add also, I just asked a question of my contact. Woodstock's outdoor aquatic facility, their daily max capacity is 1,000. And that center is 20 years old now, 25 years old now, whatever it is. So Bill's probably being conservative in what our capacity is for the outdoor, indoor, and everything else. We can probably run more than that. But I'm just saying, comparatively, that's what Woodstock's max is 1,000 a day. And they run between 600 and 800 a day average over there.
Alderman Santi?
Okay. We're looking to authorize a referendum, and Bill, when we went with the referendum a few years back, there was, did you run some open houses or some kind of programs and things?
We did.
Okay, and you'd be looking at doing the same for this in regards to educating citizens about the referendum and what it entails?
We had open houses at the rec center. We also went to community groups like the Rotary Club and the Kiwanis, so made presentations in front of those groups. Any community groups that we get in front of, I think we did a pretty good job of just putting the message out there.
Okay. And I guess I'd look at this that if this passes tonight and it goes to a referendum, you've got about 3 months to educate, not even. So I know it's going to be, interesting or, kind of, it'll be a tight schedule. That being said, this definitely needs to be a call out to the citizens, to the constituents, to say, educate yourself, communicate. There's people here, there's people in your department that they can always talk to the council members here, and we all need to be updated and educated on this too, and understand, because it's a very big project, and at some point it will happen. But bringing it out to the citizens, allowing them to make the decision, and that's one of the first things I believe Alderwoman Miller said, that that's key, to get that out there and allow them to make the decision, but we need to communicate and educate. Thank you.
Alderman Glenn?
Yeah. Some of the comments that have been made, Administrator mentioned the fact that we wouldn't make money unless we had a complete build out. Without seeing figures on all that, kind of doubt that, question it. And I'll tell you why. When we first talked about a rec center in the first place, and we talked about phasing it, we went with the gymnasium part because of the fact that that was the largest amount of revenue that we would get. And that was why it was selected out of the three different sections. And it's sad to hear that we're just breaking even because it's not really picking up. And I just don't see, we have businesses that come in here that want liquor licenses, that want to open up this, want conditional uses and everything else, and we get all these business plans. But yet, for the rec center, we don't have much of a business plan to look at.
You get the full budget every year.
Yeah, I know we get the full budget, but we need a total breakdown of everything, of what we feel down the road here where we're at. Again, like Alderman Santee said, this is a huge project, $45 million, and I sure want to go to referendum without being able to explain everything to any constituent that comes and asks me questions about it. I should have all that information, and it should be all broken down, and it should be in a regular business plan on all of it. I really tend to wonder whether or not we can sustain that big of a facility with the revenue that we would get out of there. I really, I take a look at this building, and I don't. It was built 10 years almost before I was on the council. Well, let's say 9 years or whatever. But I'm sure we've probably spent more money on upgrading and redeveloping City Hall than probably what the whole building cost us in the first place. My feeling is if we want to find out what our residents want, if we want to take it to a referendum, then take it to where you have the largest attendance of voters that come in at a general election rather than a primary. Primaries are always, I don't want to diss any government body, but they all like to sneak it in on a primary where they know they're going to have the lowest amount of voters. Let's get to a national election where you know that people are going to come out. Give us time to really get all those factors in. And I mean, let's face it, our last meeting, we didn't even know whether we'd be anywhere near $5 million. And I can recall almost your exact words, and I guarantee it'd be more than $36 million. Well, that's how you felt at that time, and I can understand it. And so you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of uncertainties yet, and I just think that we need to go. If we don't want to go to a referendum, fine. Okay, then let's just not go to referendum. If part of the council still wants to think about going to the referendum, then we need to do that research. We need to have that business plan, and we need to take it to a general election to where we know we're going to get the biggest response we can out of voters. That's my feeling.
Go ahead.
That's good. I see where you come from, Alderman Glad, but educate and communicate. And you know what? I think it's a disadvantage that we, on the passing side, that there might not be as much time as possibly to educate and communicate. But it's up to the people, it's up to the citizens to get out there. And, you make a decision by showing up at the ballot box and voting. So we need to educate and communicate with these people. And that's what we're doing tonight. Thank you.
Alderman Miller.
Thank you. I think, Alderman Glab, this is a different world from the last referendum to this referendum. I think COVID has taught us how to communicate and how to get information out. We have Janelle sitting here, which is taking copious notes, and I'm sure if we decide to go forward, this will be front page news, that, McHenry is going to do a $45 million pool. I hope she uses more than that word, Janelle. But I think we have a better way of getting information to the public, and this is something that will motivate them to go to the polls, if for nothing else, but this question. So not that we want to be the get out the vote committee, because that's not my point, but when you put it out there loud enough and in enough channels, which is what we're very good at right now, I think we would get a fair representation out to the polls in April. My second concern with waiting until the national November is Mr. Hobson reported at our last meeting that this project is a long build. So that puts us another year literally down the road. Costs have gone up 66% in the period of time from proposal to today. I don't know that I want to go down another year with the unknown of where the economy is going and the costs are going. So right now we have a handle on the cost. We start promoting it. We start informing and educating. We get our answer in April, and then, you know, again, those numbers might be different by the time we go to proposal to execution. But it would be a larger fear for me to wait a year and not have any clue what those costs are going to be and the cost of doing it. So I'm still on a yay for the referendum in spring.
Alderman Glenn?
Yeah. And I'm not going to respond to one person. I'm going to bring this out to everybody, and that's the fact that, yes, we have an estimated amount of what the cost is. We don't know what the costs are going to be. You know, and the thing is I've seen in construction business over the years highs as well as lows. And there'll be times when we're building that there will be a higher cost to certain things, and then there will be a lower cost to certain things. And whoever the project manager is we're going to have to take and make sure that they're on top of the costs of everything if we go forward. So to say that it would cost more a year down the road, we don't know that for a fact. It might be less.
I agree.
You know, so more than anything else is I don't have all the facts here to make a good decision. How could I take and expect the average voter to make that decision, other than the fact, do you want to pay $45 million? Do you want to pay $300 and some odd dollars on your property taxes? That's what we're telling them. That's the only thing we're really telling them. We're not giving them all the information that they really need. I'm sorry, we've talked about the infrastructure of the city and how much we haven't been able to keep up with. And yes, we kept the levy flat this year, which is great. But here we are expecting, you know, what, about a 40% increase, 45% increase in what the city's tax bill portion is compared to what it is now. I mean, we just need more information. We really do. And we need to analyze it, and we need to be able to know for sure that we can maintain this building, if we build it, to the quality down the road that it needs to stay at. I don't want to see a $45 million building that slowly we wind up with little things that are happening that, oh, we don't have the money to fix this, we don't have the money to upkeep this. We need a business plan. We need to look at what kind of rates we may need to charge for the people that, you know, belong to the rec center. Is it going to go up? It probably would, I would think. You know, how much? And decisions have to be made that, well, geez, if you go up 10%, are you going to lose more, you know, more subscribers than what you have? Or, you know, what's that number? You know, what's the balance? And that's something that you'd have to figure out. But all I'm getting at is all I see here is oh, do we want to spend $45 million? Do we want to take and put on a property tax bill, somebody with a 3-bedroom at $350 or $350 a year for 20 years, and ask the residents that whether they want to pay it or not, but not giving them enough information. And maybe if we give more information, maybe there'll be more people in favor of it. And maybe if we don't, maybe there'll be fewer people, you know. So let's do our due diligence. Let's get those numbers a lot tighter, and let's figure out where we would go if this went through. And again, get it to a national election, I think, is the fairest way to go.
I have a question, just from my own. So, just because we asked, David, I guess, or Bill, just because we asked the question of the public in a referendum, if the answer is yes, if they're in support of it, it doesn't mean we have to build it, right?
It's a binding.
But it doesn't mean we have to build it.
I understand. Is it binding? Ultimately, it's a take the increased taxes by the board.
Yeah, but this question you're intending to be binding, right? So, yeah, you don't have to enact it. You can say no, that would be very strange.
Well, and the reason I asked the question is to the point of the pro forma, of updating the pro forma. We may include that, I mean, we could bring a budget amendment at any point to do a pro forma to bring back more information to this council. We need to council is being asked to make a decision for a spring referendum tonight because it needs to be made before January. If that's the case and council chooses to do it, they could also direct us to bring back, you know, whatever we need to do to update the pro forma, so that, because I don't know how long that's going to take to have an updated pro forma.
Yeah, as the winter progresses.
Right, exactly. So that at least we've got the deadline to be able to ask the question, and we may get the pro forma information back, and it shows we're not going to make enough money to support it, so then that's the answer, or that we will, and then it provides the information that we need. Bill, you're going to say something.
We haven't been done once already, and so updating numbers is much easier than starting from scratch. And so to take that, go back to the person to say, hey, can you update these numbers? Similar to what we do with FGM. We know kind of where we're at, but can you update these numbers? I don't see that taking long to be able to do that.
And we're going to want that anyway, to be honest with you. I mean, to go forward, we really need that. So, you know, whether it gets approved, I would want to see that, and I think council would want to see that. So that's a no-brainer. I think after this is approved, if that's the case, then we go ahead and get that done.
Running that, I would.
Right.
Have that pro forma in hand, so that we all have to show the public the back and stuff here. But
Sorry, Sean. I mean,
go ahead. Alderman Strachan.
So, hearing other council members' comments and concerns, I do feel rushed in making a decision without a lot of information. I understand the timeline, I get where we are. I'm also probably the one that was the loudest about this tax levy and not raising our tax levy at this time, because I feel like we have infrastructure that we're not able to fulfill the repairs and purchases and all the things that we wanted to do that we had set out forward to do. Now we're not in a realm to be able to do that. We're concerned about our residents and that tax increase, the levy being increased, and yet we're talking about infrastructure and things that need to be done to maintain our city. And then we sit here asking if we're going to throw $45 million at a new complex that we'll still have to maintain. So we're adding an asset that becomes a major liability, and yet the majority of this council voted no to increase the tax levy. So I just have a really tough time sitting here listening to the fact that we're going to talk about adding $45 million to our taxpayers' tax bill, but what do we do when we need a new well? So I'm really having a tough time with that. That said, I want to see the great growth in McHenry as well. I think this would be a fantastic facility, but I don't know how we're going to pay for it. Without having that information in front of me, I'm not willing to make a decision. And those of you that are, that's great. I think we need it no matter what. But I don't feel comfortable going to the public and saying, I'm going to ask you for a $45 million referendum, but I'm not sure we're going to build it, and I don't really know how much it's going to cost you to use it. I think that's not a decision I'm willing to make tonight. Thank you.
Alderman Cook?
Thank you. I value sewer and water, our roads, parks, and that is not being properly maintained at this time. I'm with Sean here. If we can't maintain what we have, and to ask the citizens to approve something like this, I mean, we can wait till November. It's not an immediate thing. I mean, eventually it'll get done, but not at this time. I just, there's too many things that are around the city of McKinney. Like Sean said, what happens with the well? What happens with the sewer, main sewer going through 120 gets blown up and everything else like that. I mean, I wanted to, but I don't think this is the right time. And you're talking 3 months to educate everybody else in here to get, to raise your taxes $400 a year. I think you're taking away the home ownership of the city of McHenry. Like it as a family thing, we don't have to kill them with taxes, but I like the infrastructure first. Once all that stuff is done, by all means, let's have a pool. I'll go for it, but not at this time. You're not going to have enough time to educate everybody. And another thing is, this is a primary. You're not going to get all the voters out there. The last, in 2020, you had like 40%, 46% voting. During primary times, you're lucky to get 21%, 23%. So I think more time is needed. So it adds another year to put a pool in. That's how I feel.
That should go.
Thank you, Mayor. I think out of all the surveys, Bill, that's one of the number one things is gym, swimming pool, indoor swimming pool. And to me, putting this on the ballot to really get the people's input, I think that's what I'm looking at. If they're willing to go this, because it seems like everybody wants this. Let's see what they want to do now. This is an advisory referendum, binding. So I'm curious to see what the people want. So let the people speak.
Another option, do you think the pro forma would take a couple weeks? I mean...
Right now with the holidays, I would say it would take a month.
Okay. Alderman Cook, go ahead.
I don't think there's enough time to educate everybody. And I also don't like the vote with the primary. It's too soon, you're jamming it. Wait till a decent vote comes up, like the elections in 2024.
Alderman Strack?
Bill, I don't want to put you on the spot here because I know you're not going to have an answer, but I guess my question is, we're looking at $45 million for this facility. We decide to move forward. What is the cost of decommissioning Knox Merkel Aquatic Center? Because that's not in this number. And if we're going to build a facility, what do we do with that?
It's essentially be shuttered.
Correct, but what's the cost to shutter it?
I don't have that.
Demoing that, Ross, what did it cost to demo the sewer treatment plant?
Well, that's a totally different.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, it's digging tanks out of the ground. It's not far off.
I couldn't. There's, that was, I mean, I would think somewhere south of 100,000.
To demo the building, to demo what's there.
You would leave the building. The building would stay, because it serves as restrooms for the softball.
Just the pool.
The pool would be the part you would want.
It's just concrete deck and, I mean, I don't...
We have skate parks, we won't use it for that.
Thank you.
Alderman Miller?
I think we fill it with concrete and turn it into pickleball courts.
That's
I mean, if that's what everybody wants, that would be the easiest solution to that hole in the ground. But that's just me thinking logically. It'd be easier to just back up Ozinga trucks and fill it.
Yeah, right, gravel first, right, yeah, cheaper. All right, any other questions by council? All right.
I always wait to the end.
Well, I get the feeling that, you know, it's something that won't move forward tonight. I mean, do we just table it and let him do his?
So the problem is the looming date to file the referendum.
Once we file, then we'll have time from now till, it's to file by January 2nd. So.
I may ask then, so we could pull the rug out from this thing in February if we don't, you know,
it's on the ballot.
It's on the ballot.
Yeah, it's on the ballot, correct.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm trying to understand okay, please explain more.
It doesn't jive. You're asking the question, is there time to get the pro forma done before the deadline to pull it, and there's not.
Right. All right. All right, this time I'm looking for a motion to approve 8D as presented. Alderwoman Miller.
I will make that motion.
Thank you. Second? Alderman McClatchy?
I will second that motion.
Thank you. Any other discussion, comments? Monty, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Miller.
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy.
Yes.
Alderman Sankey.
Yes.
Alderman Glab.
No.
Alderwoman Bassey.
No.
Alderman Strack.
No.
Alderman Cook.
No.
All right. Next item on the agenda is 9A, amendments to the McHenry City Code regarding video gaming. I wanted to bring this forward, talking to David McCardle a few weeks back. I think we were in a good spot before, and I think we need to have an ordinance put in place so that way not only Monty himself and the chief have direction a little bit, because we do meet with every applicant or every individual business that looks to come in here, so at least there's some guidelines in place of what a video gaming cafe defines as. We don't want to be in a situation of approving a video gaming cafe and then and then all of us not knowing which one to approve and which one not to, and we don't want to be putting ourselves in that situation, or at least I don't want to be the council to be put in that situation. So I'm going to open up for discussion on this item. After this discussion, if everything goes well, I'd like to move on to 10 and get a motion to put this ordinance in place. So, open up for discussion by City Council. Alderman Miller?
So, thank you, David, for creating this. I read it many times just to make sure I wasn't missing something. And I guess the only thing that I was unclear on was under the video gaming cafe, the definition, and you were like the source of proposed or actual revenue derived from the establishment. Were you trying to leave that vague, or were you trying to establish percentages based on gaming?
I don't have any direction from the city council on a lot of these factors, so if you have input with the majority of where you want the income and so forth, throw it in. I don't know. I can't guess at this stuff. So I gave you issues that are typically considered in this particular definition, but it needs your findings. So any directions, good directions.
Go ahead.
So my question then goes to Monty. Since you pretty much said, I need direction, you've read this, you've seen it, does this give you the direction that you need, or were you looking for something more specific?
So this was Mayor Jeff's idea. I'm not saying, but no, so it helps. I mean, it looks to me, when I read it, it looks like the Liquor Control Commissioner, which is whoever the mayor is, would take this and use these as guidelines to help determine. Like, it looks from my read, that's, he or she is the person that would come with the idea and then let them move forward or not. It definitely helps. There's a couple of issues, like if you say, we want more than whatever percent food and drink, no, like tonight, he did, we know, like, you could have the best business plan and boy, the gaming could roll in or you could have none. It's just a guess. And then the question comes, who's going to police that every year? And I don't think anybody here should go through somebody's books and tell whether it's right or not, but this definitely definitely helps. We could say, look, you've got 50% of your space is gaming. Obviously, you're a cafe or you're a tiny little area and you have all these games in there. You're a gaming cafe. So this definitely helps. One thing that scares me a little bit is the part about ineligibility where if they're closed more than 30 days, then they're just done. I'm kind of scared about, like, I don't want to take a pro or against stance on gaming, but as far as, and I'm not even the financial person, but it scares me us losing our gaming revenue, because I think everybody's proud of the fact we've kept the tax levy flat. But if we were to lose any of this, we wouldn't be able to do that. Like, our levy is what was today? Was it 4 million we did? And we get $1 million in gaming every year almost. So if we lost gaming, you'd be raising the tax levy 25%, not flat, so losing any revenue to me scares me. So like if one of these major places closed for 30 days and we're like, you're gone, then our money's gone. That's just me. And I'm not, it's not my place to say that, but as a taxpayer, that scares me that the city could be losing revenue. So, but yeah, so I'm sorry. I took a long time to answer your does this help instead of just saying yes.
No, I'm grateful that you did, because at the end of the day, you are one of the enforcement team that goes out to these establishments and monitors them.
Yeah.
So even though you're not checking their books, you are part of the enforcement team with our city administrator and obviously our liquor commissioner.
Yeah.
So your feelings toward it are important to us, or important to me, so that I know you're comfortable with it.
Yeah.
In your 30-day thing, how likely is it, I'll reword that. Have we had any of our places close for 30 days and then reopen?
Yeah, so that's the other thing. So like when there's a change of ownership, this happened a couple of years ago. I think it was Chin's Asian Cafe or something like that, sold to a new owner who is Annie's now. They were closed for more than half of a year.
Now, Monty, this only has to do with existing, what we call video gaming cafes.
Yeah.
Not other gaming.
New ones.
Okay.
Yeah, but
no,
so I'm
not other gaming facilities.
Right.
Only existing gaming cafes.
Yeah.
So I don't even know how many we have, but let's say we have 5.
Yeah.
That are fall within whatever definition we pick.
So like we would have lost it. Yeah, we would have lost them because they would be considered a gaming cafe, and they were closed for more than 30 days. They'd just be, sorry, you can't sell, because when you sell your business, there's a change of ownership and you have to deal with the state again. So they would have been, if you're going to sell, you're just leaving town, so then we're losing businesses. And I know some people don't like the cafes to start with, but that scares me a little bit. That's up to you guys to decide though. I'm not trying to push my beliefs on you guys. It's just something to think about. If a business closes, if a gaming cafe closes for 30 days or more, we have one that's huge that brings us a lot of money. Yeah. And they're a gaming cafe. If they close, we'd be losing $80,000 a year gone from us if they change ownerships or shut down for a month.
Well, and again, I'm grateful for that information because that's out of our control.
Yeah.
If they change ownership and they have to go through the state process, what's that at now, Chief? 6-7 months to get approved?
6 months. If you're applying for the you're going to wait 6 months.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing, like these, go ahead, Chief.
That goes to the whole wait to get your gaming when you're opening the business anyways. Because if they open tomorrow after you get the alcohol license, they're not going to have gaming for anyone for 6 to 12 months.
Right.
If I could say too, so a lot of this is subjective. You want me to go up there? Oh, they want to be look a little more like a presenter up here.
No.
So a lot of this looks subjective, which is good and bad too. It says the Liquor Control Commissioner may consider these factors. They're not like set in stone, these factors. Because here's another example. So Ye Old Corner Tap. I would consider them a bar, not a gaming cafe. They've been a bar since McHenry's been around, I believe, yeah. But they fit the definition of a gaming cafe in here. If you look at it, they're little, they don't have more than 4 times a room. It's like, they're a gaming cafe according to this definition, except that you can take other things into consideration, and they lost gaming for almost a year when the new people bought it. And I think we agreed the new owners came in and made some good changes, and they're making more changes to the building, and I'm glad we didn't lose that. So it's good and bad that it's subjective. Like, set in stone, this is a cafe, good, but then you do that, you could lose a cute little bar that I think most of the town probably wants to keep. So that's just some things I thought about when I read through this.
So just to clarify, this came from Carrie, because the mayor, Carrie, reached out to me after approval of a certain one a couple weeks back. And then David reached out to Algonquin to get theirs. So this is kind of a combination of Algonquin and Carrie to kind of flush this out a little bit and see what the council or where others feel on this whole thing. So we can, I agree with the whole 60-day thing or whatever. I mean, I agree with that, removing that. But yeah, so it kind of just guides us a little bit, gives, it kind of, we've already had a meeting with another individual last Friday, plans on coming forward. This does not get through. So once again, we're just wasting our time on these, and if the council are just going to have us go through all these motions and meeting with them, because I feel it's important to meet with every business that wants to come into the city, so this is what we do. But I just don't want to waste time or get them irritated not being upfront with them, which we try to be, but supposedly I shouldn't be telling people that we don't want gaming parlors. So, so we need some guidance.
I think it's a good start, but to Monty's points, I think we, have to give a little latitude, knowing the reality of the state and the hoops that people have to jump through. So that 30-day thing probably needs to be somewhat tweaked, David, to 30 days or whenever state approval is anticipated. I don't even know what you do with that, so.
Well, do we want to abate or eliminate existing gaming cafes over time on any basis? If the answer is no to that, leave them alone because they're vested, well then there's no need to have this provision in there. Right. If you want them to abate and lose their privilege at some point, then we need the triggers. It could be more than one. It doesn't have to be just one. I don't know what those triggers are, but we need to isolate those and tell the people. And no one else does this, by the way. The Mountain Line, Lake, or Algonquin, or whatever the other one, Cary was, this is very common. Nobody's getting into that kind of detail. They don't even have a grandfather. I made that up. So if you don't put that in there, then those gaming cafes are in. Because there is the zoning definition for losing it under nonconformity doesn't apply. They would never lose their license.
Yeah, comments by council? Alderman Miller?
So I don't want to lose who we have. Obviously, I think we enjoy the revenue that we derive. I think all of our concerns were moving forward, and how do we get a better handle on the process so that it's consistent and transparent and clear. And I think this is a great start in moving in that direction, because that's been the weak point for all of us, is that we did a policy, so we're being inconsistent, and that's not the proper way to move forward. So, as I think we've all learned, when we have a process, it's easier to stand behind and implement. And it takes the pressure off Monty of being the yes or no guy. You know, somebody shows up at Monty's desk with a pound of chocolate, they get a yes, and if they don't, they get a no. That's not the right place to put Monty. So let's give them a policy to work with.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, if you pass, and I agree not losing anybody, if you just took that, if you like Attorney McCardle said, anybody that's deemed a video gaming cafe as of now is good. Moving forward, they're all okay. We don't have to worry about losing them. But like, there's 2 people I'm calling tomorrow, depending on whether we pass this or not, and I can just tell them, just pass this ordinance. Here's your rules, and then they would come to me and say, yeah, we're a gaming cafe. And if they didn't, and they said, no, we don't think we are, I'd have them give you their information, and we would say, yeah, you're a gaming cafe.
But
I met with one already.
Monty, go to number 2 here. The preparation and variety of food and beverages offered. The petitioner tonight was offering a panini, some donuts or whatever, and some juice. The guy a few weeks ago was offering cheese and wine. I mean, this doesn't have that, it doesn't give you that detail, and I don't know how the city council is going to do this.
Right, it's subjective on what the liquor control commissioner.
Yeah, but that means the applicant's not going to know either.
Oh, that's true too.
Well, they do. We ask them and they're like, oh.
Yeah. Like in the square footage and the seating capacity, and it's subjective to the liquor control commissioner, which helps out the Ye Old Corner Tap, a place like Ye Old Corner Tap. But for everybody else, we can be like, here, look at these. And we talked to them, but we already talked to one, and we've already told him if it passes, then the answer is no, we're not bringing you forward. You know, so it is still subjective. That is an issue.
It has to be a little bit. But we had this discussion 5 years ago, or whenever it was, trying to define video gaming cafes, and that's part of the reason and I don't know anybody. David would know. I don't know there are communities that split the liquor license and video gaming.
No, your legal strength is in denying the liquor license.
Exactly.
Not the video.
Right. So that's another option council has, as in tonight, when someone comes before, to consider them separately, and then obviously the final one, I guess, is these are renewed on an annual basis. Both the liquor license and video gaming licenses are brought before council for annual renewals. So if there's some more information brought forward about a particular business throughout that year, there's the opportunity for not renewing those licenses.
Legally, is that even legal?
Well, if the situation changed of the
Right.
business.
That's what I meant.
But
right.
otherwise, no, they put money in business. That's going to be difficult.
Litigation.
That's what I meant, is if the business changed.
Alderman Gleb, sorry. I'm thinking.
David, this ordinance, are we getting a little too specific? Does it make it a little bit more onerous on the council as far as, well, your ordinance says this or that, specific, it meets that,
Yeah, it goes the other way. If you put specifics in there, it says you can serve paninis, but if you serve cheese, you're out, or vice versa. I mean, they're going to say, well, okay, I'm going to serve some cheese. I'm good.
I mean, there could be certain businesses that, you know.
They will contour their business plan to fit this.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Exactly. And the thing more than anything else is again, like I said, I just as soon have a moratorium on video gaming anymore, opening up any more of those, and maybe even liquor licenses, unless we have businesses that are coming to town that are bringing something different to our community than what we already have, or that our constituents are looking for. Nicer restaurants and things like that. I mean, just another local bar, and that's kind of what a lot of them are. You know, I mean, they can call themselves coffee bar, liquor bars, or whatever. They're basically, that's what they are. They're just, they bring people in, you know, a few people here and there. And we've got tons of them all over the store, all over the city. I mean, you know, like I can remember, before we were become a party town, we used to have the stigmatism that every corner you looked at, we had a mattress store years back. I don't know if everybody remembers that, but I mean, we need to have a balance of what we've got and what we're offering our community, and I just don't think every time somebody comes in and they want a liquor license, we just approve them and video gaming. And I think to some extent, I don't want to be that specific because it's difficult to deny somebody if they meet the criteria of what you put in the ordinance. Now, if you have a policy, not an ordinance, but a policy that Monty can go with and say, well, this is the way the council is, and even the mayor can use it and say, well, this is how the council, you have an uphill battle if you're going to council because this has been their policy. However, if you want to, you can come forward, but knowing that this is what the council has been leaning towards.
And we've done that.
Or against.
We've told people like,
Yeah,
hey, they're not in support of this. I mean, we've done that, and I would hate to put us up. You know, a lot of this, the capacity of establishment is 10 customer seating to one machine. I mean, if they want 6 machines, which is they would want, that's 60 seats. I mean, the gaming parlors have nowhere near that.
Yeah.
So I mean, that says what you want. Like, I mean, it puts that out there, going, hey, we know you're a gaming parlor. You just want enough seats to sit the people that are sitting at the machines. So I think this does do it. I think getting rid of the portion that. Monty and I actually had discussed that last week, too, to remove that portion, and I agree with that. But I think this is a good start, and it will get us to, you know, we can make changes as we go, but I think we just need to have something in place and a policy. I mean, there's council members that are on this council, that's all about policy, the time to do it.
Yeah. You know, Mayor, I'm sorry, you talk about litigation and everything else, but, you know, if we deny people or whatever, but again, by our own attorney's words, you know, the liquor license is a privilege. It is a privilege. When we give out a liquor license, nobody comes to City of McHenry and can demand to have one.
No, I'm not.
You know, and all I'm getting at is, you know, if we feel that we have too many of a certain type of business, if we have any control on it, we can take, and I don't think we wind up being discriminatory. I mean, you know, again, if a conditional use was mattress stores years back, and people had to come, there would have been a lot less mattress stores because I'm sure the city council would have said, hey, you know, that's when we created an ordinance back probably in, I think it was the late 60s, early 70s, and that's where the 600-foot ruling came because of the fact that some aldermen just felt that we had just wound up with too many gas stations on every corner. And, you know, so I just think to some extent we just need to make sure that we're not pressing the council to approve something because, well, that's what our ordinance just states, and that's what I worry about.
No, and you also got to remember a lot of these gaming parlors, they paint the place, they put maybe new ceiling tiles in, they have machines and a couple tables, and they have a little counter. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference of investing. You know, Jim Marcos invested $300,000, probably maybe even more, into that little bar. I mean, it's a nice location, and he spent a lot of money into that place. So, you know, but there's a lot of things that, you know, is different from game parlors to establishments.
And I wish we'd have had this discussion, these type of discussions when we first approved video gaming, because at the time, the council, you know, at that time, whether or not we wanted to approve video gaming for the city or not, and most of the council felt that they wanted to, they knew that there were some of our businesses that were having a hard time out there in the economy, and they wanted to help out the existing buildings, or I'm sorry, existing businesses by approving video gaming. And then, of course, the first thing that came in were video gaming parlors. So I just, to some extent, I think, again, like I say, I think the way we've been going, I think it works out better. I hate putting that into an ordinance, but that depends on the council.
Alderman McClatchy, go ahead.
Thank you. So I just want to clear this up in my head. So if it's a gaming cafe now, say they sell the business, we're going to say, no way, Jose.
No, we would be removing that portion.
Okay.
As long as council would, yeah, exactly, I realize that. The council would make that decision, not me, but I think, based on what Monty and I discussed last week, I think that's the right move.
And you've done that before. There's been a couple of them sell, and everybody here said, well, we're not, they're continuing an existing business. Don't want to lose the business. They're not bringing a new one. That happened when, Lucky Poker got a conditional use to move across the street, and everybody voted for that. And Annie's changed owners, and everybody said, not everybody here was at the time, but everybody said, yes, they're an existing business. We're not adding another one in. We're just keeping what we've got. And so that's what you've done already so far anyway, if you want to keep doing that. That would be the same policy as we've been doing.
Thank you, Monty. Alderman Miller?
I like the policy. I think it does give us direction under the video gaming cafe definition. I like the 10 to 1, and I like the 4 to 1, so not more than 20% of the footprint can be allocated to gaming. I think those are quantitative measures that we can look at a plan, and say you meet or exceed, or you don't meet or exceed. So I think that gives us, just those two, D and E, give us a great deal of strength in the decision-making. The rest of them being, lenient, can let you lean one way or another. This discussion brings me back to a place in my career years ago when an establishment had asked me to do a community analysis independent of what was available on our website. And they wanted to know how many banks were in town, how many mattress stores were in town, how many oil changes were in town, how many pizza places were in town, how many restaurants were in town, and what our service area was. And I remember delivering that report, which was kind of interesting. At that point, we had 23 banks represented McHenry. We had 42 pizza joints. We had 15 or 16 oil change places, and I think, to Andy's point, 10 mattresses. So this director of development for this organization called me back and said, every one of those banks has $5 million on deposit. That's a requirement for the state of Illinois. So you have rich people that live in McHenry. They eat a lot of pizza. They have old cars, and they like to go home on clean mattresses. That's the definition of rich. And he goes, my business plan won't work there, which I thought was very interesting. So as we're talking about this and how many gaming facilities does a community support, I don't know that I have a resource to go to say that number. And we've all had the discussion about how many people go to these gamings, but we look at the revenue, our end of the revenue, and we make $1 million. So we know that the people who are providing gaming are making a lot more than $1 million, because that's only our little fair share. So I think creating something to give us guys going forward, we're not going to stop this flow. It obviously has proven to be a big profit margin, yet our community has said we don't want to have the flags, we don't want to have the signage. We're doing all of this right. I think this just makes it even easier to make those decisions and support our community.
Any other questions by council? Comments? Alderman Strack?
So in just looking at the example tonight, I don't know what the square footage of the Kraken building is, but I'm counting without the gaming seating in the plan he provided 40 seats. And is his kitchen on the plan a commercial kitchen? We're not defining what a commercial kitchen is. So although I like putting together what we have as a list of options, I think there's a really wide range of commercial kitchen. So how do we tighten that part to understand what it is we really want to see? Because I think that's pretty big. So that's the big question is, if that's part of the list, that there's an creation and operation of a commercial kitchen involved, what is that definition?
Is it the Ansel hood? Is it,
Right, I mean, that's the...
And that's why we close this. I mean, you guys can add whatever you guys want.
But I think those are the questions that come to mind are, we don't know what this kitchen has involved in it. When you guys are brought, when Monty's brought and the mayor and the chief, when you guys sit down with somebody, there's an initial plan that may not have that laid out in it, right? So again, unless we're really defining a commercial kitchen, then our applicants still don't know what that answer is either. So as they're looking at a cost, if we're not telling them what they have to have, then they're gonna work the system just like McArdle said. So how do we figure that part out?
You can take out the word commercial, and it distinguishes it from a hot plate, a microwave, a toaster oven, whatever else.
We ask that question often when because it's a liquor license meeting is what it is, and then gaming is attached to it, but we ask that. Most of them are very open. We don't have a kitchen. They have just a press behind it, and so they get whatever lowest level health permit they need. They do not have a kitchen, zero kitchen.
Yeah.
Even not even sure the corned beef place has an actual kitchen.
They do have a kitchen, but not the Ansel hood. Not the Ansel hood. So it's like, what kind of kitchen? I mean, it's a kitchen area, but, I get that. I mean, that, you can usually tell what's a gaming parlor or not. Go ahead, Monty.
Sorry. So when you read this, it says the following factors may be considered, and it's like other factors deemed relevant by the Liquor Control Commissioner. So it's pretty easy to see, for most people, you're a gaming cafe, and we can just say no. So Knights was a good example. Some people would say, they're just a video gaming cafe, they're trying to pull something over on you. Some people could say, no, look, they're really trying to compete like with Panera and Starbucks. Like, he talked about having people come in for coffee early in the morning and staying and doing work there if it's a comfortable place to hang out. So I can see people arguing that one either way. And in that case, they probably don't have a big commercial kitchen, but in that case, that's where we could bring it to you guys. That's one of those, hey, what do you guys think things, like something special in McHenry that's different. We could see, hey, this is something you guys might debate, but it would even though we can't define commercial kitchen, we can say we can stop a lot of it from even getting to you and wasting your time and their time, and I don't care about wasting my time, but they're the businesses are putting money, like that guy put a lot of money into his plan, and he flew out here, and they're investing a lot of money, and I'm not trying to push for them. I'm just before we have people wasting too much money, I want to stop. I don't want to, I feel bad for some people because it's hard for us to give them an answer, and this would help us stop some of those obvious. Like I have another one I'm calling tomorrow. I really think that he's a gaming cafe, and under this definition he will, and I think he heard about the wine and cheese guy coming. I'm going to do some wine, too. Well, because you heard what happened, and so, but no, we could stop, say, look at this, tell us what you're really doing, and we could look it over, and we could probably stop it.
He knew it. He already knew it.
Yeah. He's like, oh, when I told him to pass an ordinance, maybe pass an ordinance stopping gaming cafes, he's like, oh, okay, well, call me and tell me, what happens. And so I've got 2 of those phone calls to make tomorrow, depending on what we do tonight. I'm okay bringing to you, but I think you're probably going to say no. I think you'll all say no to both of them. But without this to stop them, they have the right to come to you guys.
So at this point, do we remove the commercial chicken? Jeez, hungry, obviously. The commercial kitchen. Or do we you have to supply an Ansel system with the commercial kitchen? I mean, the Ansel system, $20,000. By the time you do a hood and Ansel system, I don't know.
The only issue I have with that is, there is a lot of businesses that are actual kitchens that don't need a hood. Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the issue. Like, that's my question. What is it that we can dictate that makes it be an actual, we're serving legit food, right, and not out of a bag, out of a microwave?
You throw it in a microwave and you're selling it, it's commercial, right? People can argue that, so.
No,
you gotta be specific.
But I think with what we have here, I think, Monty, if you agree, I think this would really get us to the point where we can have a conversation internally and talk amongst each other to figure out if it's a gaming parlor or not.
Yeah.
They usually spill the beans on what it is, and they tried, like the one today. I mean, the people tried pitching as a cafe, and they're spending a lot of money on that piece of property, so I get it. They are, and then the question is, what if they don't? What if they go ahead, we approve it, and they don't do all the improvements that they say?
Well, he also was the first that we've seen ones where with some actual revenues listed, like where he thinks his anticipated revenues coming from.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part of it that also helps that. And that's what I said last time when we were talking about this at the last meeting, like, well, maybe that's part of it, is maybe the food and beverage revenues need to exceed the gambling revenues, and
they can make those numbers up. We actually told him, like, we want to know these numbers.
But they're making it up if you're, obviously all the gambling revenues reported, right? So if they're gonna fudge the math on their tax return, then that's a risk we take. But if they're gonna provide us that as proof of.
But what if their revenues are off? I mean, we can't do nothing legally, right? I mean, we've had this conversation, David, like, what if they say, oh, their food's going to be 60% and it comes in at 20%, or we don't even know. Like, we don't know what revenue they did in general. Like, we have no idea, and I don't want to get involved in what their business does, but I just don't think that's even...
Well, you'd have to add the provision for revocation, that you have to maintain this. When we have nothing like that. We don't tell them how to maintain their business in the future.
No.
We say what it needs to be on your projection, which is a total guess. Unless you're, lucky losers.
I like the fact that he could run that business without the gaming. He said, yeah, we'll still go ahead with it.
And that's what he said.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Well,
I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. So.
Not like corned beef factory.
He can run his own business.
What's that?
Not like corned beef factory where, well, we gotta have the gaming.
Yeah. Right.
Along with the restaurant. It's like, really?
Well, I don't think, that's the corned beef factory's issue.
That's their corporate.
No, okay, yeah, it wasn't corporate.
Why didn't you get the game?
Whatever, but.
And the issue with that one, I mean, that would have been a dead one. But the problem is they saw that the other one got approved, so now there's, once again, litigation, discrimination. So policy would help change that.
So are we agreeing to this, or?
I don't know. Are you? I mean, really,
Real quick question. Monty, are you comfortable with this? Does this give you enough direction?
Removing section 2.
Yeah, this helps us stop what we think. It doesn't just have to be the mayor. We got other staff members that can help look something over, and we do. We're a good group of people that help each other out and look at something and give a bunch of opinions based on this. What do you really think? And we can stop a lot of them from coming. And then the ones that we think, hey, this might be okay, we can then bring those to you guys for you to,
But you're very comfortable the way it's written, with the exception of removing section 2.
Yeah, I'm happy to call two people tomorrow and say, we don't want gaming cafes. If the council, not me, council doesn't want gaming cafes anymore, we think this is what this is, and you convinced me that you're not a gaming cafe, and two of them will not be able to convince us tomorrow.
Correct.
sounds good.
Right. Alderman Miller?
So my only last comment is that most consumers have no idea how to interpret ordinances. I would love to see, just because I have a lot of wants, a checklist, a consumer-facing checklist that if we approve this, it's not Monty saying, are you or do you? It's a checklist. Does your establishment have a design and layout that, is 80% non-gaming? Do you...
But he can't, he won't be able to add those kinds of standards because they're not in here.
Yeah, they are.
It's within, no, you just added 80%, right?
Well, it says square footage, it says 4 times non-gaming to 1 gaming. That's 80% world.
Well, I meant on the more objective ones, he can't pick its own standard.
I agree, but you could establish a checklist or
for the
question.
ones that are here.
Yeah, for the ones that are here.
Yeah. So just a companion piece, because people will pick this up and go, it doesn't make sense to me, who do I talk to now? Which puts you in the same place that you're already in.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Looking for,
No. There's an action item right after.
item 10, on the agenda is a motion to amend Title 4, Chapter 2, Section 4-6-1, and Title 4, Chapter 6, Section 4-6-4, limitations of establishments and terminals of McHenry City Code. I'm looking for, with removing Section 2 on ordinance number 23.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second? Alderman Bessie?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Monty Colorado.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassi?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Glab?
Yes.
Alderman Strack?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, can I say something? I forgot, and since this is your ordinance that we just, I don't want to say we made it, it's our ordinance, it's not a state rule. We can come back and tweak this, kind of like we've done with other things around town. This is like the non-vehicle, the golf cart ordinance. We can come back and tweak it. So if anything goes wrong, we'll come back to you and say, hey, maybe we can tweak this. Or if we bring something to you and you say that doesn't work, we're happy to do whatever it takes to make everybody happy. Make you guys happy, not the cafes happy.
You all right? Stop fighting over there.
Down over there.
Steve, is your elbow okay? Did he hit you? All right. Any other any staff reports? Ross?
So, the comp plan, thank everyone who did come out to enjoy the lovely evenings of the comp plan, the design charrettes a few weeks ago. The next step for that is going to be a joint meeting between the City Council and the Planning and Zoning Commission to come up with goals and objectives. So that meeting date, internally, we've set for February 21st, if council is okay with that. It is a Wednesday. We do have a regular council meeting on the 20th, which is a Tuesday because of President's Day. So I can follow up with an email. I mean, I don't need an answer tonight, but it kind of follows our schedule with getting this comp plan, the draft format of the comp plan out to the public in March. Around St. Patty's Day, they want to use the Shamrocks the Fox to talk to the public during the parade about their findings in the draft copy. So what I'm asking council is if February 21st works for you. Again, I can follow up with an email. You go home and check your schedules, but it would be, a 7 o'clock start. The HDR would be here. The Planning and Zoning Commission would be here. It would be a public meeting, and we would go over the comp plan.
Question.
I'm okay.
The only question I have is why couldn't we make it off Monday? I mean, Mondays are usually our council meeting dates, or council meeting.
Yeah, we chose that because that's the regular scheduled Planning and Zoning.
Monday night would be the best, so. So are we accommodating Planning and Zoning, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, I'm not accommodating anybody, no. I chose that date. If you guys want to go with something else, then you just tell me and we'll go with something else. Who's good for February 21st? All right, February 21st. That sounds great.
That's the date you said?
Yeah, yes. Okay. You just email, if there's any conflict, there is room to maneuver this if we have to. That's why I'm asking you guys. If there's a conflict, just email me tomorrow and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, first glance, I want to say yes,
Okay.
but I need to check my book.
All right. So get back to Ross by tomorrow if it does not work. After that, we'll go ahead and do February 21st. Any other staff reports? I think that's it. I have nothing. City Council comments? Alderman Glem?
Yeah, I've been getting a little feedback from a few of my constituents on requests that they've had from the city that just doesn't seem to come through as far as tree trimming and things to that nature. And I just think to some extent, if for some reason our staff can't do something, sometimes they're unreasonable requests, so that maybe the council member for that ward is emailed to let them know that there's not being able to do it and why, rather than having a constituent catch you off guard, the fact that something didn't get done, and you have to do the follow-up to find out why staff didn't get it done. And again, it might be a very legitimate reason, and wouldn't it be better that if a constituent gets a hold of you, you already know that it isn't being done because you got the email and you could explain it to them, rather than having to get back to them back and forth.
How many requests do we get a week that we can't handle?
I don't know of any.
I don't know of any
that are not handled or we haven't responded to a resident on.
Okay.
So if you want to give me a call and we can talk about it,
sure, I'll
get you the answer.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you. Alderman Cook.
I've had a couple of people, for West Beach over there in Lakeland Park, complain that it really looks icky. They didn't want to use the language that they wanted to, but they wanted to know if it could be cleaned up a little bit more. And I had asked them, I says, well, for one thing, they want a parking lot. For another thing, I kind of want some piers in there, so for fishing and stuff. I know it's been low water, but they just think it's not really presentable, I guess. And, but I did tell them about the picnic tables and the porta potty that was there, that was offered to them, and they thanked me a lot for that, which I thank Bill for. But they want to see a little bit more improvements over there. Bring it up.
Alderman Strack.
So Alderman Cook, I love the fact that people want piers there. Maybe someday we'll raise the taxes enough that we can afford to buy some.
Sure.
Thank you.
Any other city council comments? Alderwoman Miller.
I just wanted to thank everybody for the invite to the city luncheon. That was wonderful, and good interaction with staff, especially the Parks boys. Did Bill already leave? Nice. They're so happy and proud of all the extra things that they bought and put and constructed, and town really looks amazing. So we have incredible humans that work for us, and they're very proud about their jobs. So thank you for the invite. It's always nice to go and be able to express holiday cheer one-on-one. Thank you.
Alderman Glenn.
Just want to say Merry Christmas to everybody.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy New Year. And then I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Alderwoman Bassi.
I make that a motion.
Alderman Strack.
Second.
Monty, call the roll.
Alderwoman Bassi.
Yes.
Alderman Strack.
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller.
Yes.
Alderman Cook.
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy.
Yes.
Alderman Glab.
Yes.
Alderman Santee.
Yes.
Thank you.